I grew up in a small village in western Massachusetts where I would often spend my days outside climbing trees, playing in leaves, hiking in the woods, and swimming in the rivers and lakes. With all the time I spent outside, I was bit by ticks many times, but never thought anything of it. I also trained as a competitive gymnast, and as a young child I quickly developed chronic migraines that would leave me in agonizing pain. My parents were devastated and didn't know what to do. Even adult extra-strength Tylenol didn't help me. Doctors prescribed migraine medication that I had to be careful with. I had to be in a dark, silent, cold room to cope, and even then I'd often cry myself to sleep in pain. These migraines continued throughout my life, and I just grew used to having them. There were some weeks that I'd have a migraine for days, or a headache for a week at a time. Throughout the years, even as a child, my body would feel ancient, as though I were in my last years, with aching, creaking joints all throughout my body that would crack, pop, and lock up. It felt so strange to be so young and have such pain that made it difficult to move for days at a time. I thought, I guess this is because I'm a gymnast. And in later years after leaving gymnastics, I thought, I guess this is just because I was a gymnast. I am the youngest in my family and grew up as the hospital child, from chronic ear infections to random injuries and unexplained pains. Looking back, I had many different symptoms, from extreme mood swings and rage, to bedridden depression, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts and tendencies, to loud ringing in my ears that would come and go, constant brain fog, memory loss, chronic sinus issues, and heart palpitations. I remember growing up feeling like something was off every time I had strange and seemingly unrelated symptoms in my body. Since the medical establishment was unsuccessful at helping me, I turned to ceremonial medicines on my spiritual journey. Things were seemingly better, but it was just that seemingly was not really better. I grew to ignore my health and any symptoms I felt. I never talked about what was going on and instead focused on my spirituality to save me. It was unfruitful. I had experienced a few episodes of waking up not breathing and slowly struggling to breathe in excruciating pain. It felt like a heart attack, with my heart in such debilitating pain, and I had no idea how I would get to the hospital. It was terrifying, but after it subsided, I ignored it, did a ceremony, and got a cat to have a companion. If I was going to die in the middle of the night, at least I had a kitty to keep me company. Shortly after these episodes, my husband came into my life. As we spent more time together, he noticed that something was wrong, as I would often have excruciating heart pain that made it difficult to breathe, and I'd have to stop what I was doing. He made it clear to me that it was not normal, and I needed to go to the doctor. They sent me to a specialist and had me wear a machine for 24 hours to track my heart. For whatever reason, I did not have any symptoms while wearing the machine, and I was told that everything is fine. My husband and I had an encounter with God, and I left the rituals and ceremonies behind, and soon we got married. Symptoms came and went, but I didn't think much of it. I never really talked about my health. I had some intense challenges throughout my pregnancy as symptoms flared. I gave birth to my incredibly healthy, strong, beautiful baby girl. However, due to a combination of exposure to black mold and the physical stress of giving birth, I had the worst flare-up of my life. I was incredibly weak, faint, dizzy, and had my vision blacking out. My eyes, which were once so keen and sharp, had begun to diminish. My sight began to come and go, with everything blurring, light smudging, colors changing. With intense brain fog, I was often forgetting things very quickly and having extreme difficulty comprehending what was being said, as if my brain couldn't connect the information being shared into understandable terms. I knew something was wrong. My speech began to slur together, and my words would not come out properly. I began having difficulty speaking and difficulty moving my mouth and face. It started to feel like I was going paralyzed. I was terrified. My husband had recently been diagnosed with Lyme and was researching how to understand Lyme and how it functions, and what symptoms are associated with it. When I told him what I was feeling, we had an epiphany, and all of the puzzle pieces came together, and we knew it was a Lyme flare-up. I started to remember so many unexplained things throughout my life that suddenly made sense. It was as though Lyme was the missing piece of my puzzle, especially after learning that spirochetes travel to various parts of the body, such as the heart, eyes, and brain. I had been worried that these changes would be permanent, but my husband has shared with me stories of people being fully recovered and their health restored. I am praying that I may have a successful recovery for myself as well. It has been heartbreaking for me to be so limited because I know that God gave me the capacity to be a better mother to my daughter and wife to my husband. Many days I struggle to take care of myself and help my family, but thank God I am always able to take care of my daughter, even if it's just the basics. It crushes me when I have difficulty seeing my daughter because my vision still comes and goes. I just wish I could do more, and I know that as I get this Lyme infection kicked out, I will be able to.